go. You are under. All right. You are on, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen in North Brunswick. We welcome you to the meeting of the North Brunswick Township Board of Education through Zoom. These are special and different times, but we're glad that you're able to join us and that we have a mechanism through which we can recognize our extraordinary athletes, their coaches, and the work of all of our district during these difficult times. Thank you, sir. Please rise for the flag salute. In North Brunswick, we welcome you to the meeting of the North Brunswick Township Board of Education. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Extraordinary athletes, their coaches, and the work of all of our district during these difficult times.
We
have
need-
roll call, please. Rise for the flag salute.
Rosa, I think you can unmute yourself. You're part of the co-host.
Yep, I'm unmuted.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to bear with me now because
Sure.
everyone's muted. So I'm gonna manage the participants. So what?
Ready, Mr.
Yep, go ahead.
Mr. Brockman.
Hold on, Miss. I'm gonna mute all the board members.
Yeah.
So just give me 1 second. It's
Of
a little awkward, but we have a big meeting in front of us. We haven't had one this big yet, and so Miss Tracy, Mr. Brooks, Miss Keefe. I'm looking. Oh, Mr. Brockman, here you are. You fooled me because you're on some. All right, it's not. Oh, there we are. Okay, Mr. Brockman's ready to go.
So do you want me to wait to unmute everyone or just start? How would you like me to do it, Dr. Z?
Do it now. I unmuted everyone. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Mr. Brockman.
Here.
Mr. Brooks.
Here.
Mr. Duran Harris.
Here.
Ms. Keefe.
Here.
Mr. Liguori.
Here.
Mr. Liu.
Here.
Ms. Rubin.
Here.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, the public notice of this meeting, which included the time, date, and location, was distributed by 3 p.m. on Sunday, April 26, 2020, in the following manner. Posted on the bulletin board reserved for announcements in the board office, Old Georges Road, North Brunswick. Mailed to the Home News Tribune, Sentinel, and the clerk of the Township of North Brunswick, and delivered to the 9 duly elected board members. Dr. Sikowski, would you like to introduce the presentation?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, North Brunswick. It's Wednesday, April 29th, as we continue in our unprecedented remote distance world. I do want to introduce as our first presentations, a number of our winter athletes who deservingly were awarded many, many recognitions and honors in all county, all conference, all state. But the person who is the leader of that group of the coaches is our athletic director from the high school, Mr. Morel. So, Mr. Yes, Mr. Morel, there you go.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us today. We've had some tremendous success over the Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, now you can. Sorry, Mr. Morel, you were muted.
Absolutely. We've had some tremendous success over this winter season, both as teams and individual success. I think we have about 16 individual student athletes who have received some sort of recognition for their successes, and we have a numerous amount of teams who have won some awards and recognition as well. So I really want to thank the coaching staff for all that they do to make these student athletes who they are today, as well as their families. And thank you for all the opportunities that the board gives us to be able to inspire students through athletics. So I would like to begin, if that's okay, Dr. Zakowski.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'd like to begin with recognizing our coach of the swim team, Coach Rogavas. If you could start us off about your athletes and what they were able to win this year.
Sure. I'm glad to see everyone well. I just wanted to thank Dr. Z, Mr. Patella, Madam President, and the entire Board of Education for your support for the swim team. Our first athlete is Ryan Capps. Ryan was our all-red division and all-county award winner for the Raiders boys team. Ryan is an exceptional swimmer. He is 4 years varsity, scoring 524 points during his 4 year of swimming at MBTHS. This year, Ryan medaled in the 100 backstroke, getting 5th place, and the 100 butterfly, getting 4th at our county meet. Ryan holds a spot as the all-time top 15 MBTHS fastest Raider boys swimmers in the 2 IM in 4th place, the 100 fly in 3rd place, and the 100 backstroke in 3rd place. But putting all the numbers aside, one of Ryan's amazing traits that he has is that he gives every swim 200%. So it doesn't matter if Ryan's in his favorite event or if he's in an event that he hates, whether he's first in a relay or last. Ryan does exactly what he needs to do in the water. And he never really backs down from a challenge, which is great. Ryan is going to attend Montclair University, where he was recruited extremely heavy from the swim coach, and he will be swimming there as one of their top swimmers. So we know that he's going to do amazing things in the pool and out of the pool.
Thank you, Coach. You also, next up, you had your boys swimming team. Let's talk about that and their award that we are so proud to hear about.
Yeah, so if it's okay, I'm going to group the boys and the girls together because it is
Sure.
the same award.
Oh, great.
But I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that for 8 years in a row, the North Brunswick Raiders swim team has been voted by the GMC swim coaches to win the Greater Middlesex Sportsmanship Award, which is an amazing honor. I take this award very seriously because I pride my coaching on not just teaching stroke technique and how getting faster and how to get faster in the water, but how to be a good role model, make good choices, and to be kind to others. So I often remind the swimmers that no one will remember your times, but they will remember how you made them feel. So we are lucky enough in North Brunswick to be the only school that has a pool within our building. And so I remind the swimmers that other teams have to travel to practice and travel to swim meets, constantly getting on a bus, having to pack up their things. So when they come to our pool, we welcome them into our home and make them feel comfortable and welcome. So it's important for the swim team to represent MBTHS with pride and respect. So winning the award for 8 years in a row just means that the swimmers are listening and they're doing all the things that I am teaching them, which is great.
Ms. Ragavas, that speaks volumes, comportment, sportsmanship, and just an overall wonderfully appreciative and nice group of young men and women. I felt, you invite me every year to the banquet. I don't see the children on a regular basis. Boy, did they just, I was there this year with our principal and athletic director. It just felt welcome. And it's just a nice, and really led by their parents. So I could see where the students get their training. So thank you to the families because what a wonderful, nice and overreaching to go out of their way to include the superintendent and the district principal and the athletic director in their celebration. And really, it speaks volumes. And I now know how you certainly got that awarded because it's part of your priority. So congratulations. And again, thank you for running such a wonderful program. And please, we have to let everyone know watching, millions of viewers, that is not in your house, that pool, right? You're not sitting in your house with a pool in your house.
It is not. No,
okay.
It's not.
Because I know if Councilwoman Guadagnino finds out that you have a pool in your house, she's going to have her children over there practicing. So we can't.
And I would give them a good practice.
Yes. Well, thank you. And we're going to move on. So terrific. Congratulations to our winter swim awards, starting off with our overall swim team. Also, we have a wonderful bowling program. And our coach, Miss Amy McCormick, she muted herself. Can you unmute yourself? I could do it. You're going to talk about, I imagine, the boys and girls bowling programs.
Yes.
And
Can you hear me?
She has a young recruit. We really
Yeah.
appreciate you going out recruiting at such a young age.
Yeah, I just made it through the season. The day of states was my last day. They took me out on disability for those little guys. So we're going to start with recognizing the boys bowling team as a whole. They finished as the white division champions. They had an in-division record of 8-3-1. And then overall in the GMC, they were 9-7-1. They played a lot of the red division teams, which are very difficult teams. They had a high, I'm gonna hand this little guy off. They had a high team series of 3,067 and a high game of 1135. As a math teacher, I like all these statistics, but for those of you that are unfamiliar, a team game of 1135 equates to an average of 227 per player. So that was amazing out of them this year. It was probably against St. Joe's. We beat St. Joe's once, and that was great. In addition, the boys made it to the quarterfinals of the GMC tournament, and they also finished 5th in the Central Jersey State tournament. The high games for the boys were as follows. Freshman Jacob, he did mostly JV, but he did come up to varsity every once in a while. He had a high game of 101. We also had a freshman Marvin Matias. He had a high game of 184. Senior Kendall Fields had a high game of 225. Sophomore Prakash Nayak had a 229. Junior Devin Shaw had a 242. Senior Nick Farrell had a high game of 280. And junior Zach Linewall had a high game of 297 out of a possible 300. Individually, Zach and Nick also had some other awards. Zach was named to the white division team. He's been an asset since his freshman year. This year, he averaged 204.9. Again, his high game was 297, which led to a 723 series. And he finished 29th overall in the GMC individual finals. Nick Farah finished his senior year on a high note. This year, he averaged 205.9, which was 4-pin improvement on last year. His high game was a 280 with a high series of 755. He finished 11th in the Central Jersey sectional and then moved on to finish 20th in the state. So that was outstanding from Nick as a senior. He just missed the cut to keep going. Then we had one of our girls, Darcy Frushine. She's a junior. She has vastly improved since her freshman year. This year, she averaged 181.3, I believe, which was a 25-pin improvement just from last year.
Wow.
From her freshman year, it's probably at least a 50-pin improvement on her average. Her high game this year was a 245, and that led to a 616 series. She qualified for both the GMC individual finals and the state finals. She finished 14th in the GMC, and she finished 10th in the North 2 sectional, which then led to 60th in the state. So she did an outstanding job, and she still has 1 year left, and I know she's being recruited by several schools right now.
Wow. What a great honor. Coach, we really appreciate you coming on. It's amazing that you made it, and the baby, yourself, everyone's healthy.
We're all healthy, yes.
So there's no truth to the rumor that I'm trying to lose weight so I can bowl my weight. I just can't get enough pins down. So I'm trying to bring my weight down to bowl my weight, but certainly great accomplishment and just a continued success with our program, as many of your players, many of your bowlers are young. So we'll have a lot back. We'll be losing Nicholas, but certainly look forward to continued success, and stay well. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
So we have Coach Brahini. Many of you have been watching our broadcast on Channel 15. Thanks to Craig Yetzko, the mayor, putting many of our games on. You'll see Coach Brahini coaching his teams, and even though we know some of the outcomes and some of the successes, it's great watching the teams being broadcasted. And he's on tonight, joining us to talk about one of his all divisional players, Coach Brahini. Let me see if I make sure you're not muted. I know I saw you on here, Coach. Oh. Coach, we'll go back. Oh, here you are. Good, Coach. You're ready to go. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Wonderful to join you tonight, Dr. Z, the whole crew. Take a few minutes just to speak about our basketball season. Very, very successful season. One that I think everybody can take a lot of pride in. On the previous squad, the bowling team mentioned the youth on the team. I think of our 13 players, 10 of them will come back next year, 10 underclassmen. So we had a successful season, recorded wins in both the county tournament and state tournament. And I'm going to speak a few minutes about our all-division player, Jabri Fitzpatrick. Jabri had a wonderful season. Numbers-wise, he averaged 15 points a game, 5 rebounds and 3 assists, including a high game of 30 points and a win over Sayreville. He combines this with being an excellent student, a GPA that certainly I would have been jealous of as a student back in the day. That certainly outdoing me in that respect. But also all-white division selection. And I'm so proud of what a lot of our players were able to do something extra off the court. We had a shoot-a-thon in which every player got pledges, shot 100 free throws. We were able to send a considerable amount of money to the Coaches versus Cancer organization, which again, in the big picture, is something that is very important, and our team was able to give back to the community. But I want to congratulate Jabri. I want to congratulate all the winter athletes, and look forward to getting back to everybody, back to more normalcy. But in the meantime, go Raiders.
Thank you, Coach Brahini, and certainly congratulations to Jabri as Middlesex County basketball, the white division, very, very difficult. So that's a great honor. Speaking of great honors, one of our longtime coaches continue to work with the girls varsity basketball team. Coach Mark Zielinski, I know Mark's with us. Mark, you're on.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Z. I'd like to thank Dr. Zakowski and the Board of Education and and everybody up at the central office and our administration at the high school too, because we've gotten so much support for our student athletes. And vice versa, you can be very proud of these young student athletes. We had an excellent season this year, finished up 16-9, where we had replaced 80% of our offense from last year, but our girls did an incredible job of coming together. And as with Coach Brahini, 10 of our 13 players are back again. 4 of our top 6 players from this year were freshmen and sophomores. So we're excited about the future as well. And one of the big reasons for that is Niall McCargo, first person on the list here. She's a first team all-white division player this year. She scored 431 points, averages 17.2. It was the highest average in Middlesex County. She was in the top 60 in the state in scoring. And, and not only that, but she was an all-around player, first on our team in assists as well, in steals. She was even third on our team in rebounds, and just you couldn't get a nicer young lady who was very humble about her accomplishments and fit in very well with our team concept that we have. We mentioned Megan Farrell. Megan was a second team all white division selection this year. She was first on our team in 3-pointers made. She was second on our team in scoring, in assists, in blocks. Again, I'm going to speak about the 3 young ladies together a little bit at the end because they have some qualities that are so similar to one another. The third player to speak about briefly is Anaya Boykins. Anaya was one of our co-captains this year. She's a 3-year letter winner. She was chosen for the GMC Senior All-Star team. Unfortunately, that All-Star game was canceled due to the COVID-19 situation that we all find ourselves in. But Zanaya, in her 3 years as a varsity player, ended up being a part of 44 wins in the program, which is very impressive. And, I can't emphasize that enough because she's an incredible team player. She led our team for 2 years in a row in rebounds and had in those 2 years over 400 rebounds. But she also was second on our team in steals. She was first on our team in blocks. She was somebody who was an all-around player and an all-around great person. All three of these young ladies have represented North Brunswick and North Brunswick Township High School, in a superlative fashion. They are honor roll students who have continued to do magnificent work during this time of remote learning that we have. And I really can't speak, more than highly enough, about them. They embody the qualities of class and humility and dignity that we all admire, while they also pursue competitive excellence. And it was a pleasure to be around them. It was an honor to coach them this year. And Megan being a sophomore and Niall being a freshman, we're excited to have them back and all of our other young players. And we wish, Zanaya and our other seniors all the best success as they move on to their college careers and their life choices.
Thank you, Coach. Great job. I got a chance to watch some of the games. They certainly was never out coached. They certainly were in every game. So congratulations, great year and a bright future. So we're going to move along. I know we're starting with we have track, but I don't know if our Coach Grimes is there. Maybe Mr. Farrell, you're the culprit with the bad feedback, Coach Morrell. Is Coach Grimes available? You see him on?
I don't see everybody here. Let me scroll down. I know Coach Grimes and I were in communication all day today.
All right. So we're looking for Coach Grimes. Send me a chat, Coach Grimes, if you're under another name. I'm going to go to Coach Ojeda to talk about the wrestling, and then he could, then we could go back to Coach Grimes if he's on. Okay. So let me. I just had Coach Ojeda. Where happened to Coach Ojeda? Here he is. Coach Ojeda, you're on.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Zakowski, and good evening, everyone. As Mr. Zakowski said, my name is Bill Ojeda, and I am the head coach of the boys and girls wrestling team. It goes without saying that I and coaches Dina Fleming and Kevin Totten are very proud of Leslie Bonanos, Batista, and Diana Hoyos on being named Girls GMC All-Stars. 2 years ago, I dreamed of starting the first all-girls wrestling team in North Brunswick. When I started recruiting last summer, I was amazed by the number of girls who responded. This past summer, 5 girls began practicing in our summer program and showing true grit in the process. By the start of the season in November, we had 10 girls sign up, and by December, that number increased to 16. When you consider that a full team consists of 14 wrestlers and that most schools only have between 2 and 6 girls, imagine how we felt starting out with a full roster plus 2. The girls in North Brunswick were sending a clear message. They were ready to show the world how tough they were on and off the mat. And boy, did they show it. My hope the first year was to simply teach the girls how to wrestle with the hope of winning some matches. And next year's plan was to take this experienced team to the next level. However, the girls had other plans. From day one, they demanded that I train them the same way I trained the boys and to not go easy on them. They dedicated themselves to the sport and pushed themselves to learn as many moves as possible. As their confidence increased, so did their desire to wrestle the boys with the sole purpose of getting better and even beating them. The result, an amazing season that saw the girls winning in tournaments, and in some cases competing against male wrestlers and giving them a run for their money. Leslie and Diana are just 2 examples of how well girls performed this year. And here are the stats. Leslie is a freshman and first-year wrestler with an impressive winning record of 8-5. She took 3rd in the GMC and qualified for the regions, where she recorded several more wins in the state tournament. Diana Hoyos is a sophomore and first-year wrestler with an impressive winning record of 8-6, taking 2nd place in the GMCs, 3rd in the Elizabeth All-Girls Tournament, and qualifying for the state tournament, also recording wins. Both wrestlers are great role models for current and future wrestling teams. And to quote one of the wrestling fans, our girls are not athletes, they are warriors. I couldn't agree more. So congrats to the girls, and I can't wait to see what they do next year. And finally, just I want to make sure that I do a shout out for my assistant coaches, Dina Fleming and Kevin Ton, for their help and dedication in making this season a successful story.
Well, Coach, great job. Dina is here with us, and I unmuted her. So if Coach Fleming wants to say a few words, please. It's a remarkable story, and we're proud that North Brunswick is leading the way, and our girls are doing a magnificent job.
Like Coach Ojeda said, this was a very unexpected lineup. When I first joined, I knew there was interest, but I had no idea how it would grow. Every day that we started off our practices in the beginning of the year, 2 more girls would show up and just to watch, and they immediately they were just enthralled by the sport. They wanted to know how they could become part of it. It got to the point where we had to kind of say, okay, we have enough. and every time that they went on the mat, they gave it their all. They never shied away from any challenge. They showed humility during their losses. They understood that those losses allowed them to prepare themselves for the next challenger, and that challenging themselves was in their best interest, that anyone that they could face that was better than them, even if they lost, was just going to make them stronger. They showed that grit, determination that they needed, and they just had a thirst to learn more and to practice more and to practice and compete at higher and higher levels. So it was really just a pleasure to behold, and just to see how they banded together. They were true supporters of their boys. Even when they weren't wrestling, they showed up to every match with the boys, every tournament, cheering them on, literally sitting on the sidelines at the mat. And it was just a wonder to behold. It really, really was a family throughout the season. So it was my pleasure, and I cannot wait for next season, whatever shape that may take.
Well, Coach Fleming, Coach Ojeda, terrific. And also we want to recognize Coach Taunton. What a great job. Well said. And we're proud. And believe me, it's exciting to see something start from its infancy, and North Brunswick being the leader. And in the state of New Jersey has grown as a state. I'm proud of New Jersey, NJSIA, as we approved from the executive body. Girls now have their own state tournament. They are growing, and there's champions. And so when we get back to our old normal, I can't wait to see how our program continues to flourish under your leadership, under Coach Ojeda's leadership, and Coach Taunton. Thank you again. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but there's a saying that Coach Grimes is in the house. I'm sorry, Coach, I didn't recognize you. You've been on all along. You're under a pseudonym, so I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. I do want to say that you're going to honor so many great athletes. Like our other coaches, we heard, building a program, building great young men and women is critical. It starts with the comportment. It starts with the focus on academics, and of course, then let their academic athletics talent shine. We had the great good fortune. The mayor had asked to highlight some students, and Rami Barbarina, he was on, and he's just a remarkable young man. And when I told the mayor, as remarkable as Rami is, he's just one of many remarkable stories from North Brunswick Township High School and the track program. And he was really, the community was floored to hear such great stories about the program, our young student athletes, both the boys and girls. So without further ado, Coach Grimes, take it away. Talk about your winter awards.
Okay, sorry for the confusion. I always try to have a little surprise waiting, so that was an assumed name to keep you guessing. How you doing? Like you said, we'll start with Randy, since you mentioned him first. We've heard about him quite a few times. As a senior, he continued his dominance of the state this year, getting a couple more GMC titles, sectional title, Group 4 title. He was the dominant quarter miler in the state. The only thing that kept him from winning the meet of champions was injury. He had to sit that one out to the bad knee, but he was the unquestioned top 400 runner in the state. He set the county 300-meter record early on in the season. He set 5 school records, individual school records, and was the anchor leg for 2 other relay records. His fierce competitive nature is second to none. Well, maybe to a couple of teammates, but he just refuses to lose no matter who the competition is, and the competition found out the hard way. that he was a very difficult person to beat, no matter what distance. Very heavily recruited. We had about 8 to 10 schools looking at him, but when the U flies in to put a scholarship on the table, you listen. So he'll be taking his talents down to Miami next year to take the Raider brand to the next level. Next on the list, I believe we have Samad Wingo. Most people know him as a gridiron star. I believe he has a record or two over there, but he was a two-way scoring threat for us on the track. He's one of the elite throwers in the county, as well as their top high jumper. He actually legitimately was able to be at a state level in both disciplines with ease. He's a freakishly talented athlete, and he combined with another teammate we'll mention in a minute to be the top high jump duo in the state. They actually won the state high jump relay title and were considered one of the top 10 high jump duos in the entire state under the tutelage of our good friend, Mr. Aaron Speller. He'll be taking his talents on to William Patterson on the gridiron, but I'm pretty sure the track coach will track him down and see if he can't get him to go over a high jump bar or toss a javelin or something once he gets there. Next young man we're going to talk about is DeMonte Blunt. He's just fantastic. DeMonte he actually broke the school record in the 55 this year, making him the fastest man not named Randy to ever come through our school. DeMonte was a steady performer, always showed up, quiet, led by example, was just a fierce competitor. He even showed his versatility and his dedication to the team by running on our 4x4 relay when we were chasing after the county title. And they actually broke the school record as well. So he has a couple of school records under his belt. We don't have any postgraduate plans for DeMonte yet. There's a couple of things we're still working on. We were trying to work out through the spring. So hopefully there'll be some great news by the time this school year is over, this version of the school year is over. And our last young man, before we go to the girls, will be Damian Miller. I saved him for last because Damian has come to embody what Raider track and field is all about. For the first 3 years, Damian was always the bridesmaid, so to speak. If it was a 4-man relay, he was the 5th guy. If it was a 3-man jump relay, he was the 4th guy. But he never quit. He never complained. He just came to work every day and worked and worked and worked. And this year, the work paid off as he broke through. He was the other half of that state champion high jump duo. He was a scorer at GMCs, a scorer at sectionals, and he made it all the way to the meet of champions. He's also on our school record 4x4 and is one of the strong legs on our dynamic shuttle hurdle relay group. That's one of the top 3 in the county and the state section. So that's the boys. Moving on to the girls, we have, first we'll talk about Naja Eiffel, a senior, multi-event athlete. She's probably a natural heptathlete. She was a scorer for us in the shot put and the high jump, but whenever we needed her to actually step on the track, she would step on there and take on the relay leg, and you would never miss a beat. Very quiet, always about her business, but she led by example. A shining example of what we're going to be. I believe her post-college plans don't include track and field, which is a loss to the sport because she's a dynamic talent. The next young lady we're going to talk about is the lone underclassman, Adelaide Asante. She's a junior, but she's probably the most versatile and dynamic sprinter we may have ever had come to this school. She's legitimately a state-level scorer in every distance from 55 meters up through the half mile and all the hurdles as well. She is insane. Quite frankly, I have no idea how good she can be, which is why I'm so excited she's only a junior, because we get another year to figure that whole thing out. It's going to be very exciting. The recruiting's already begun with Adelaide. We got 6 schools already contacting us, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole lot more coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And last but not least, we have the mighty Nakaja Weaver. She has a reputation. She runs and jumps ferociously. She's like a freight train coming through, and the head coach of Woodbridge called her affectionately the most feared sprinter in the county. She's the undisputed fastest girl in Middlesex County. There's not a girl in the county who can beat her, and that's been proven for 2 years in a row now. She is one of the top 3 in the entire state. She's ranked nationally. She went to the Meet of Champions this year in multiple events. And she got a phone call from the great Olympian Carmelita Jeter to come join her down in Missouri State and take her sprinting to a whole nother level. So when the Olympian calls, much like the U, you answer. So Nakaja's going to head down to D1 Missouri State next year, and she's going to keep on running using that speed to run onto her dreams. That's our season in a nutshell. Hopefully we'll see what happens later on this year.
Well, Coach, fantastic. Like the other programs, the winter that we highlighted, it really begins with a program mentality, starting with the top, the coaches, the assistant coaches, because you folks set the standard. You meet the district standard, the school standard, and of course, we're so proud of how you represent us and how the student athletes represent themselves and their families. And I want to thank not only the coaches, but Mr. Morrell for his leadership, for being there as the athletic director. We are, again, doing so many wonderful things, but it begins and ends with the leadership at the school level, at the sport level. So thank you, coaches. Thank you, Mr. Morrell. And of course, congratulations to our families and students. Well-deserved, well-honored for this recognition and recognitions because we're all so proud of you. And with that being said, we always want to memorialize these wonderful awards. And we do have our board president who has a resolution to read, so it gets put in the permanent part of our minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Sikowski. Be it resolved by the Board of Education that the following resolution be approved. Whereas the Board of Education recognizes the efforts of our student athletes to perform at their highest level of interscholastic competition, it also recognizes the accomplishment of exceptional achievement. And whereas through leadership of their coaches and with a firm determination to be diligent while preserving excellence, they stand among their peers and represent the North Brunswick Township High School and themselves in an exemplary manner. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this public acclaim be given to the following North Brunswick High School athletes for their selection to the greater Middlesex County teams. Boys basketball, Jabri Pietrika Fitzpatrick, all-white division team. Nael McCargo, first team, all-white division. Megan Farrell, second team, all-white division team. Anaya Boykins, senior all-star team. Boys bowling, boys bowling team, white division championship. Nicholas Farah and Zachary Linewall, all white division team. Girls bowling, Darcy Frushine, all conference and all white division team. Boys swim team, Ryan Capps, all conference and all red division. Boys and girls swim teams, all red division sportsmanship and overall GMC sportsmanship. Boys track, Rami Berberina, all state, all area, all state, all group 4, all conference and all white division team. Samad Wingo, all conference and all white division team. DeMonte Blount and Damian Miller, all white division team. Girls track, Nakaya Weaver, all area, all group 4, all conference and all white division team. Adelaide Asante, all area, all conference and all white division team. Nadia Eiffel, all white division team. Girls wrestling, Leslie Banos Bautista and Diana Hoyos, county all-star team. Be it further resolved that the above North Brunswick High School athletes shall be recognized appropriately and that a copy of this resolution be spread in the permanent minutes of this board. Congratulations to all these wonderful athletes and their wonderful coaches and leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Congratulations. I was looking for the hand clap, the virtual hand clap. So we want to thank all our coaches again, families, student athletes. And
We don't have to be virtual, Dr. Sikowski. Let's all clap right now.
Oh, I got to unmute everyone. Let me unmute everyone.
Okay, unmute us so we can make some heavy noise.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Mommy, who is that?
Oh, mommy, there you go, coach.
Yep, I got another one.
I have to mute everyone. The clapping's still going on. We're part of the budget. I'm sharing my screen. You should see the North Brunswick Board of Education 2020-21 budget presentation known as fiscal year 21. We're required by law. There's a statute that requires a period of time for a final public budget presentation for the next fiscal year. Our timelines for the presentations April 27th to May 7th. So we presented this to as a preliminary budget. It was vetted by the county as they look at many caps and parameters, and it was passed through county vetting and county scrutiny. So tonight we're going to pass the budget or ask the board to pass this budget after we present it, but we're going to present it publicly. But I do caution everyone as we are in uncertain times and we're not rushing to promote or push this budget. It's just that we're required by law to do it. And we've been asking Trenton for some guidance, and they are working on getting us to some guidance as we move forward. As you may have heard, the fiscal year for municipalities have been shifted. Well, schools' fiscal years have been, they stay intact. Our fiscal year stays July 1, and our requirements to report on a budget must be done before May 7th. So this is our public meeting that we are going to do it. So you can see that every child in every class every day, well, we have virtual classes, but every class, North Brunswick is diverse, and we stand committed to every child in every school, in every classroom, every day. You can never start any meeting. Please look at our core beliefs on the screens. We do not waver. If you look at our core beliefs, it's about all students deserve safe and security, high expectations for professionalism, high expectations for instruction and outcomes. We like to say now that we're in this new world, equity and excellence, but with this new world, it's really equity and excellence through empathy. We have to, but we can't lower the expectations. We continue to maintain the highest level of expectations from our staff. And of course, that goes down to our students because we need them to achieve. We need them to continue to reach all their potential as possible. We believe all children deserve an exceptional education. This is Autism Awareness Month. We believe in every child, whatever program a child's in, that they deserve an exceptional education. And last, I think, is our strength is something that we've worked very hard. We work hard to identify biases that we didn't even know we didn't have, that we may have had. We continue to work to understand others. And so collectively, we build strength. And no one's better at this than children, the students. It's really adults that we look to them to help us with this. So we believe that diversity is our strength and that education of all our children is a collaborative responsibility of home, school, and community. And nothing has really echoed more true than the partnerships between our municipal leaders, our Board of Education leaders, and our families during this crisis. I always begin with this because as a superintendent, I never want to waver from the balance of responsibility that as a chief school administrator that I have. I have to balance educational integrity with fiscal responsibility. We are funded primarily through our taxpayers. So it's really a responsibility, something that the Board of Ed takes very serious and they're committed to, and something they hold me accountable for. And what does that mean? Well, fiscal responsibility, we could put one teacher for every 100 students. Well, we would make a lot of money. We would save a lot of money, but that would ruin the educational integrity. And conversely, having one teacher for every child, that would be really terrific for educational purposes, but it would really compromise our fiscal responsibility. So let's take a look at, the new wave of fiscal responsibility as we get into this budget. Just for an example, our budget since 2015 has grown from a general budget of $93 million to 114. That's operational. So if you do the quick math, that's a $20.9 million growth. And our state aid has grown from 11.7 million to 29.7 million, a growth of 18 million over that 5-year period. That did not happen by accident. That was a focus of this Board of Education, the administration, our staff, we lobbied for more state aid. We became parts of networks. We sued the state. We worked with the state. We said, because we have to balance what you're requiring us, the mandates, and we need to have fiscal responsibility because we're being held accountable. Our taxpayers, our local taxpayers were overtaxed by anybody's formula, including the new S2 regulations that said we're paying more than our local fair share, and it's not fun. It's not fair. And we have to provide more for our students because of our students and our makeup of our district. So 86% of that 5-year growth of that 20.9 million. So 18 million of 20.9 million that we grew in our spending was funded by state aid. And I want to thank the Board of Education. I want to thank my colleagues, my administrators, teachers, people that wrote letters, people that attended meetings, people that lobbied, our legislators. We can't thank our legislators, our assemblymen, our mayor, our council helping us with this growth and its pursuit that North Brunswick receives their local fair share. So that's an example. We're going to talk about this budget and how we grew, but we had it funded by the state aid that the taxpayers were deservingly in need of. But we have great challenges. And the two challenges we can't forget are in red is our duplication of resources. We're going to talk about the $6.5 million the state of New Jersey gave to the North Brunswick from last year to this proposed budget. 6.5 million, except that 1.6 million of it has to go back to charter schools. Charter schools, and we do not fault our students. They're taking advantage. The problem is the funding. We're not criticizing, but most of our students are going to charter schools not in this county. And this district, North Brunswick, has to bus these students. We have to pay for their teachers. We have to pay for their principal. We have to pay for their management company. $1.6 million addition to our budget. And we're sending them to Somerset County. Transportation costs are through the roof. And it's for the same resource. We just got named a top high school in the nation. Why should we be funding with taxpayers' money another public school in a different county? People should have choices. But if that was a private school, the choice would be that family would have to pay for it, because in North Brunswick, we have a school district that should not be sending those funds to, and which depletes our resources. So, and this board has not taken that lightly. We're committed, again, that scale, the integrity of our education program is being jeopardized, but also the fiscal responsibility of the taxpayer. Why are we paying twice? So the board sued for segregative practices because, first of all, charter schools are supposed to be made up and represent the diversity of the district they're representing. That's not the case. And we went all the way to Superior Court to make some noise. And we're working with charter schools now that the funding mechanism comes from New Jersey, not through the local school districts. Because you, taxpayer, are not represented on any of these boards. They're not publicly elected boards, yet they're public schools. So we're working with New Jersey, and we have some great representation that we're asking that the boards, that the state of New Jersey go to charter schools and fund the charter schools with the state aid appropriation. Take away the percentage that comes from the local taxpayer. So we receive about 83%. 83% of our budget comes from our local taxpayer. Well, if 83% of our local budget comes from our local taxpayers, we're saying the state, any need to fund charter schools, 83% of the funding for those charter schools should come from the state. If the state declares they need to have aid, well, that's coming back from the state. They can give them the aid. So therefore, the charter schools are not in competition for funding with the regular schools. It comes from the state like a regular district. They're considered independent public schools. So the funding mechanism, the children are wonderful. They're North Brunswick children. We support all children. But we're talking about funding and duplication of resources so the taxpayer is paying twice. We're also, so you can see the second the serious priority is the underfundedness. We're paying more than a local fair share. Yes, we have received more money. We're about $14,000 to $16,000 million short in getting to our full funding. Why is it a range? Because by anybody's math, it gets clouded, what's counted. But high level, we're about $17 million short now for our fair funding, to a lower level, about 14 million. That's counting the 6.5 million of new funding. But if we take away the charter school funding that we're giving, add another 5 to $6 million on top of what is owed to us, because that's what's going to us and out the door to charter schools. And so the other priorities, we have to maintain our safety and security enhancements, to close achievement gaps. Remember, all means all. We have increased special ed costs. These are all legitimate. We are so proud of our program. We are so proud of our bilingual program. We are just reducing barriers, keeping all children in district for better programs. But if we bring them in district, the costs do go up for the district budget. But we believe all kids, all children deserve to be with their peers in the building. And our special ed programs have been second to none. Unfunded mandates. We continue to get unfunded mandates. We continue to provide 93% of every school budget is non-discretionary. We have about 7% of discretion. And in that 7% is whether to have sports or not, whether to have clubs or not. So you can see there's very little room for discretion. And when we get extra mandates, that forces the pressure on us to continue. We have to maintain improved facilities, folks. And we're doing it without going out to referendum. We went out to referendum once as a superintendent. I was here 14 years. We've done numerous improvements and continue to improve. And we only went out to one referendum because we had to build a new school. We put new roofs on, $12 million worth. We've improved our track. We did a new football field, new soccer field, new softball fields, new chemistry labs, new engineering labs. We continue to put solar on. None of this is a result of going out to referendum to add tax. We did it incrementally, strategically, but we have to pay attention to our facilities and more on our facilities, how we were getting extra funding to make sure the taxpayers, again, that balance, don't have to go into their pocket to maintain the facilities. We're looking for grants, we're looking for partnerships, and we've been able to procure them, and we're very happy. Technology. People say, how do you have all these Chromebooks? 4 years ago, the board made a commitment of $1 million a year. That was great foresight to see that we need to prepare kids for the future. So we had our Chromebooks ready. We had our bricks, or we call them our cool pads for Wi-Fi, for those who might not have Wi-Fi or internet, that equity piece. By the way, we received 4,000 of those cool pads for Wi-Fi through a grant, no cost to the taxpayers. So these are things that we have to continue. PD is required. We want to make sure not only helping children get better, we help our staff get better. So that's the growth mindset squared. You just don't get better as a district if you only work with children. We have to work with children, but our focus needs to be continually helping our staff grow to prepare students for their future, grow in dealing with diverse students, grow in developing programs and mindsets that challenge students for their future, not our past. Maintaining our curriculum plan is all required. Enhancing our strategic plan, more to come on that. We're so excited about how we're going to reach more of a broader community to enhance our strategic plan. But if you've been listening to our broadcast, we've been highlighting some of our principals coming on. I've been trying to highlight all the various programs that we're running and operating, from our academies at the high school to our engineering programs at the middle school, our science programs, our coding programs at the elementary schools. All that we're improving and enhancing is all part of our curriculum plan, our strategic planning, and getting feedback. And folks, I'll mention this in my report, but we are going to look at a survey to community, not only about this pandemic, but going forward about education, not only in the pandemic, remote learning, because we know we need to get better and we need to improve. We went to a remote learning on a dime, 1 day notice, and we're improving. But we owe it to you and your families and our students to get better and grow, and our staff is up to that challenge. So more to come on that. And the only way we can do that is getting that feedback. So a survey will be coming out shortly. Moving on. Maintenance, just some things that we include. We require our elevators, our fire alarms, our fire extinguishers, our wood floors and stages have to be done. The glass and window, we have a strategic replacement schedule. Our general repairs, things always, we have 1 million plus of square footage that we continue. Painting projects, our carpet and VCT, which is tiling, on the floors, our maintenance, our pavement. Let me talk about our capital programs. Right now in our program, we are working on transformers. We have capital reserves that we'll have to address the cost of our transformers. What are the transformers? At the high school, built in 1974, it was built with electric heat, electric everything in 1974. So the school was built in 74. They built 3 huge transformers to take high voltage to make it into regular voltage so you could use safely throughout the school. Well, those transformers are old, and they're 2 of them are working. One is not working right now. We have enough electricity at this point to power up because we converted to gas. Our heat is now gas fired, natural gas. We're not still heating through electricity. We couldn't afford that. Maybe now with our solar panels, we will be able to, but we have to replace those transformers because we're not, PSE&G would cost double the price if we asked them to put the transformers on the poles and run it to the high school. We have a mercury issue that, as you know, part of September, October, a small part, October into November, out of abundance of caution and ventilation issues that we were working on our new ventilation system, we shut down the gymnasium. But the mercury issue was because we had a rubberized floor. No one knew that when they encapsulated with our new wooden floor at the main gym, that the rubber, when it disintegrates, there could be mercury issues. Well, right now we monitor it. Everything is fine. No one's there now, but we're still monitoring it. But the board is committed not to pass this problem down, kick it down the road. This was changed in around 94 era, and we're not going to kick it down the road. We have to do tests and make sure that gym floor may have to come out. And you can imagine, you see the size of our gym at the high school. Why would it have to come out the rubber floor? So that means everything above it, because we don't want that mercury leaching into the foundation. So we're monitoring it, but that's something we have to plan for. And we have that in our plans. Our high school roof, it's our last section of our $15 million strategic incremental roof replacement. Luckily, we've started that a few years ago, and incrementally we replace our roofs because now we're able to have a solar project that will benefit the district and bring income to the district, no cost to the district in terms of putting up the solar because we're in what they call PPA. The third party owns the solar. We just get the benefit of some of the SRECs, which are solar renewable energy certificates. We have a guarantee rate. We're actually receiving money now, and we have guarantees for the next 15 years at a low rate, lower than anything you could believe right now for the next 15 years. Plus, we receive a revenue stream from those solar. How are we able to do that? We have new roofs, and the SRECs were moving fine, and a third party wanted to use our roofs. So we are maintaining a very, very low cost of electricity throughout our district, and of course, a nice stream of revenue based upon the solar. But that stream of revenue also allows us to continue what they call an ESIP project, Energy Savings Improvement Plan. So we have a parallel path. We can't just build a new school and let the other schools fall apart. We're replacing the things in the envelopes of all the other schools, the HVAC, the lighting, the water consumption, all the things that the boilers, the pool, the regulators on the pool, that was all paid through this ESIP project because we need to start looking at our pool area, fixing things like our soundboards, our locker rooms. They're overused. We have a wonderful swim program, but it's overused in terms of that we need to fix it up. We have a responsibility. We have a wonderful municipality that is, committed to working with us to continue to look at how we can improve what I consider a community pool that's located at our high school. But we're doing all these things. That ESIP project approved by the state, it was part of a $14 million improvement to all the other buildings, except the new school, because that's being built. No cost to the taxpayers. Zero cost to the taxpayers. From energy efficient rebates, which are grants, to our solar cash flow, to our commitment from the state and our energy bills that they approved it. We are going to be able to fund with a profit a few $100,000 per year of doing all this work and no cost to the taxpayers. That's $14 million worth of work. That's how you look at a responsibility to our taxpayer, but yet maintain the integrity of running an organization. It's more than just reading, writing, arithmetic. There's buildings, there's responsibilities. And We're very happy the board, it's going very well. The board was able to allow us to enter into that. So people are talking about what's this budget? What are the challenges? And you got so much aid, Dr. Z, 6.5 million. Well, one, we receive more aid because we deserve more aid. You deserve, North Brunswick Township residents, the public schools, the Board of Ed, you deserve more money based on not our formula, by the first constitutionally passed educational funding formula called SFRA and led by the legislation of Senate President Sweeney named S2. We received $6.5 million. Well, we have a promise to receive it for this next fiscal year. So what was it made of? State aid, 5.9 million, and debt service aid, 600,000. Wow, that sounds like a lot of money, folks. So you're going to see, I'm going to present a budget. We're going to give back 1.4 million. And then you're going to say, wait a minute, Dr. Z, only 1.4? Well, when we had to give back to the charter schools, 1.6. So if you take 1.6 out of 6.5, that leaves $5 million, 4.9. And the formula is based upon that the board honors that we're 2/3 underfunded for our students and our district and 1/3 underfunded for our taxpayers. So the 4.9 million, if you round it up, a third of 1.4 million is a third of 5.2 million. We gave a little bit more than a third to the taxpayers, but you can see the big cost is this charter school. Again, duplication effort, which is why the board took it all the way up to the Supreme Court to change the way it's funded. Salary and benefits, we have over 1,100 folks working for the district, 1,100 staff. Everything from bus aides, secretaries, teachers, faculty, counselors, administration, substitutes. We have over 1,100. And so it's a labor-intensive organization. Our transportation items, we had to add 700,000 plus to that. As you all know, the cost of transportation is just going through the roof because of lack of drivers. Thank God gasoline has been reduced, but it's not that. It's the supply and demand of drivers and people willing to bid on routes available. So if nobody bids on a route, people then take it if they add a premium. And so now we're all in competition. So that's the 6.5, but let's get into the details. Really, our budget, if you look at it, increased costs of 14.9 million. Whoops. Increased costs and increased revenues. We had to generate the same because we're a balanced budget. We can't overspend. We can't spend in a deficit. So just take a look. The increased costs year to year. On the side here, increased pensions and healthcare and FICA contributions, 700,000. Increased labor. This includes a new middle school. Special education, 1 million. Because remember, the new middle school, you cannot budget for labor. No recurring costs can be part of the referendum. Textbooks, one-to-one initiative as we go through our replacement and our added charter schools. That's a cost. Transportation, it's 400,000 here. The 700,000 goes into the charters. 300 of it goes into the charter school cost. Debt service, $3.7 million. We'll talk about that. Preschool, no fear about the preschool because you'll see increased revenues. That's a flow-through wash. We get funded for our free full-day preschool. Capital projects, $2 million. And you can see how we paid for it. State aid, enterprise program. Let me admit someone here. Fund balance. That's money from the board's budget. Breakage, when people retire. Lease purchase. Better way, for example, we do not own our solar. It's part of that, how we can make money because we don't want to own the equipment and we're responsible for. We sign into deals, we do lease purchase. Reserve appropriations. As we build reserves, we give it back to those areas. Cafeteria service, which is food service. We give facilities back. A lot of money gets funded back to facilities. If we rent a facility and we make money, we put it back into those facilities. That's what reserve appropriations. Our preschool grant, I told you, it's a wash. The $2.8 million. Transportation fees. We make extra money for transportation fees. We put it back to the increased cost of transportation. And various grants led by Ms. Rumbo, we increase our grants, extra grants we write. We look for every possible grant and we've increased our grant writing and revenue by $1 million. So what does that mean to the taxpayer? Now, everyone asks me, Dr. Z, $158,000 average home assessment? Folks, each municipality assesses their home at a percentage. Some do it at 100%. In North Brunswick, it's not different. Some others do it at 80%, some do it at 50%. The tax rate's adjusted accordingly. North Brunswick, we have assessed at 53.09%. So that 158 only represents 53% of a home, the average home assessment. So when you go to the county, that's why you ever hear the phrase equalize assessment. They put everyone at the county at 100%. So our rate would go down for tax rate, but the average assessed home would go up to its 100% value. That's the only way counties can equally work with homes and assessment and tax rates. So if you ever look at your equalized rate, that's why, because North Brunswick, for the local taxpayer, it's assessed, the average assessed home is 158, 520 at 53%. And you should know the rateables have gone up. The values of the North Brunswick, the rateables have increased for the third year in a row. Thank you to our residents. Thank you to the town council and the mayor. Thank you to the Board of Ed, working, being frugal, but investing into North Brunswick so our values of our homes will continue to go up in some tough times. I want to show everyone, we operate year to year what they call a general operation budget, so our general tax levy. Our tax levy for our year-to-year budget, $114 million budget, it's going up $225,000. We could go up $3 million per cap. We're not going up $3 million per cap because the board is giving the $1.4 million of additional aid back to the taxpayers. So the state aid the taxpayers do not have to increase the general tax levy because the board's giving it back. So that total, just our operation from last year this current year to next year would be 80 cents. And I put it in parentheses because yes, 0.8, 80 cents per month, $9.60 per year. Now people are going to say, wow, how did you do that? We dedicated the state aid increases. Remember, the state aid is promised to us based on projected revenues by the state. This is why we don't know what's in store for us. I know the state and Governor Murphy and other governors are applying to the federal, CARES Act and other things that can help out the state of New Jersey. You should know we give many more billions to the federal government than the state of New Jersey gets back. So when I hear other states complaining, how can New Jersey and New York ask for more money? One, we're in the heart of the epicenter. And two, your state dollars go and your tax dollars go to the federal government, billions, tens of billions of dollars more than we get back as a state. Tens of billions. So yes, it's about time we should ask Washington, help us out, help local municipalities because you deserve it and it's only fair. So, but still, we're still cognizant that we have to operate within the parameters we're in now. So let me go back to the charter schools. Why am I mentioning? I'm not picking on charter schools. They seem like wonderful organizations. They're just not public schools. They're designated public schools, but they're getting funding differently. It's coming through the local district, and we take it out of part of our funding. We give 90% of the cost per pupil, not the state aid, the cost per pupil, and then we send it over to them. We don't vote on their budgets. You don't vote on their budget. You don't even get a vote to elect their board members. They're selected. They're run by management companies. But it's a political debate that we can't have right now. All I'm showing you is if we didn't give that $1.6 million and the board gave the $1.4 million, which we're giving to the taxpayers, every taxpayer on this operational budget would receive a $6 per month decrease. $6 per month. We're going up 80 cents. We would decrease it. So that's a $6.80 per month on the average assessed home. If you're more than the average assessed home, it would be more money. That's why we say the fiscal impact, to balance the scales, to say we got $6.5 million and not account for that we're duplicating resources, it's hard. Honestly, we value all children. Children go to private schools, they're important to us. We provide transportation, we provide nursing services, we provide books. There are children. There's a commitment from the public schools. But charter schools, the funding of it is what we're fighting and highlighting. The children are wonderful. They're North Brunswick children. But you have to understand, this Board of Education was committed to that scale. They went to the Superior Court. We fought it in Superior Court for a lot of reasons. So again, because the board represents you, the taxpayer, and that scale is our guiding. We care about the integrity of our educational program, but we can't forget about our taxpayer. So let's talk about the Board of Ed and the promises. I was around 2016, 2015. We said we need a new school project, and we promised we're going to do the best we can. So before we talk about giving back money from the extra money that we receive, let's talk about that promise. I'm bringing in the original referendum from 2016. And if you can see highlighted, the average assessed home was about 158 at the time. We said, please vote for this. The tax impact would be about $19 per month. Because we said it was going to be 4.25%, and it was going to be a 30-year loan. I'm happy to report, not only did we keep the promise, we exceeded the promise. We took a 25-year bond. First 3 years, there was no charge to the taxpayer for the building project. We are getting here as the school's ready to open. There's nothing you do. It's like a mortgage. We made a promise, but we only have 22 years left on that mortgage, not the 30 years we said we were going to take out and burden the taxpayer for this new school. 22 years. And we said you're going to pay 4.25%. I'm happy to report we are about 2.6% because we had to take two loans out. And if you average them out, 40 million, one loan, a bond, and another 40 million, the average is about 2.6, somewhere around there, percentage. And we continue to look at refinancing any existing debt, like the high school. When they built the addition on the high school, that was a 25-year loan. If you follow our board meetings, we just refinanced last few years of that to get savings to the taxpayers. So over these last couple of years, the board has appropriated $4.75 million in tax relief. So let's talk about that. We talked about 80 cents going up. We talked about 80 cents per month going up. Now, let's talk about the debt service. That's like a mortgage. That's an ongoing commitment. But all the board could do is control what we can control. We took that $80 million bond that we approved in December 2016. We presented it because we were required to represent the worst case scenario. People didn't believe me. And they said, Dr. Z, yeah, sure. It's going to go up. I said, no, we're presenting the worst case, 30 years at 4.25%. We projected around $19 per month. I'm happy to say the first 3 years of the 25-year bond was paid by the extra state aid that we were getting. We are now in 22 years left. Have to pay $7.38 per month for what was projected to be $19 per month. No debt service increase for the first 3 years. We have 22 years left. We have $7 additional per month on the average assessed home for this building. And remember, this building project is only the brick and mortar, not the staffing. We promised you that we were not going to bludgeon the district and taxpayers with additional referendum for staff members. We've been doing it, operating with our own fiscal budget and annual budget, and we continue to do that. We continue to look for the best way to be prudent, to be smart, and to balance the scale of our programming with the needs of our taxpayers. So there's not much we could do with this other than we've refinanced. We have a rate that's unbelievable. Instead of a 30-year bond at 4.25%, which would be crazy, we have been able to go on an average about 2.6%. between the two bonds that we took out. We took 40 million at once, and then we did the final 40 million now. Because why? We didn't take all 80 million out because we let 80 million, 40 million of it collect interest to pay off and reduce some of the payback. So you got benefit, the taxpayer was a beneficiary. We didn't take that interest and apply to anywhere else but back to the taxpayer, so they didn't have to pay as much. So we're very proud of this budget. This debt service doesn't go away. However, next year, we don't see the increase. This is built in. This is where we are. We start looking at consolidation of debt. We look at to be even more fiscally prudent. This is amazing because we projected it and you passed a bond, a referendum to bond money, a 30-year bond. We were estimating, and people said 4.25. Is that high? Yes, at the time it was a little high, but we had to look at the worst case scenario. So the total tax impact, only thing we're responsible on an annual basis that I can control is their operating budget. 80 cents for the average per month for the average home. That's $9.60 a year. So if you're double the average assessed home, that would be $18, $19. This new school tax impact, that stays. We don't control that. It's like your mortgage. You have to keep paying that. How you operate monthly, where you could control and maybe cut it back, is that's what we did. That's why we gave the money back to the taxpayers. And if you go back to the slide, and I could go back to the slide, folks, we were eligible. Eligible. Remember, the budget is capped. We are eligible for $3 million more on our annual operating budget. I could not, the board could not, our staff could not do that because we know how hard you work and how you supported our schools, and we want to take advantage of any extra aid that we give it back to the taxpayers appropriately. That's our commitment. It'll continue to be our commitment. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but this is what we had approved at the state level. So we need to work with Governor Murphy as he looks at Washington to help fund schools, because quite frankly, we were in a great economy, and the governor and his assistants and assistant commissioners and our commissioner, who are great partners with North Brunswick because we're very efficient. They gave us a $6.5 million promissory aid note based upon projections how the economy was. We don't know what's going on. The New Jersey's suffering a little bit. As you know, the economy's suffering. So we'll work with our commissioner, who's been on our Channel 15 last Saturday morning, highlighting on the mayor's program. He's on there because he's a friend of North Brunswick. The governor's a friend of North Brunswick because we're doing great things, and we're in partnership with Trenton to help us work through Washington, because North Brunswick paid more than a local fair share for too many years. Not your fault. So we worked hard to have the funding formula changed. We worked hard. This board has written letters, has sued, has been in court, and I'm proud to say they're partners with our township, the township leaders, our mayor, and our council, because it's the same taxpayer, and we're doing everything we can. And right now, I've even asked our commissioner, can we delay our fiscal year? Townships are now moving their fiscal years and their budgets to October because of the issues going on. We were told we have to pass this budget now. This is where you are. This is the aid you've been promised. And until further notice, you need to have it approved by the board within that April 27th to May 7th. And this is our board meeting to do that. So moving on, our total budget, 80 cents per month. That is really $8.18. So even with our new school, we're at, I'm being blocked by my own, we're at $8, excuse me, $8.18 per month. And you can see on the screen, I get blocked because, $8.18 per month. Total tax, and that's counting the new school project. And that's, again, 22 years left. Will be 21 after that year, and 3 years of funding from the board at no cost for the first 3 years of the project. I just have to remind everyone, where would we be? We weren't duplicating services to charter schools. Again, nothing against charter school students. There are students. That's the funding that we've been worried about. And we're working with charter schools. I sat down with charter school leaders and we talked about funding mechanism that the state, the taxpayer, the local taxpayer should not be responsible, but the state should be responsible for an independent school, for a school that has no representation as a public board, even though they're public schools. And yes, the state of New Jersey can give their state aid percentages to the charter schools, but they should not take away from the $82 million tax levy and have us give that percentage to them, to the charter schools, because we're duplicating resources in a time where we shouldn't be doing that. But that's a big battle, because we want to make it clear that charter schools are not the enemy. They're our children. It's legal, but it's the funding that we battle. And we are trying to work with our charter schools to promote. We pushed legislation out recently, and our charter school partners agree with it. It would cost the state $173 million to fund the charter schools for the tax levy appropriations. And so where we would only be responsible for the state aid portion of that cost per pupil, that would relieve us of probably about 80% of this $6 million that we send over the charter schools. 80% of it. And we're trying to work in unison, because the legislation needs to change, because we can't duplicate resources. We have a wonderful district. I'm sure the charter schools are doing great things for our kids that go there, just like the parochial schools and private schools. We have nothing against them, but they're funding themselves. We do give some assistance, because tax dollars do give assistance for transportation. We give assistance for services, nursing services, and books and things like that. But we think there needs to be a different way of funding charter schools, so we're not pitting those schools against our public schools where the funding is, so tight. We're finally getting extra funding, deserving so, to North Brunswick, and a lot of it's going out the door, and that's what we're battling. So, what are the variables? We worry about the state aid. We're going to ask the board to approve this budget. It's a sound budget. The operating budget's going up 80 cents a month. Retirements. We receive more retirements. We're able to fund the budget and help out. Our benefit rates, we don't get them till later on. Our grants, we don't know if the state, as we apply for them, even though there's promise, there's notes, sometimes they have to, at a sheer not having funds, they can't honor the grants. Enrollment. And again, charter schools, 1.6, as if their enrollment goes up, that's just a projection. It could go up even more, the difference. So we don't know that enrollment, just like if our enrollment goes up and so on. So there's a lot of variables, but we feel we're in a good position, because the prudent planning, the great planning of this Board of Education, commitment to all children. As I said, I've been here 14 years as superintendent, and we only went out for one referendum to build a new school. We've improved roofs, we improved fields, we improved classrooms, we improved programs. Many districts go out for referendum just to, add a classroom addition, to put a roof on. Now, one roof. And our buildings are getting a little bit older, including the high school, built in 1974. We're redoing the roofs. Not one capital project other than building a new school, which we didn't have $80 million. We're not allowed to have $80 million. So we utilize prudent planning, and I thank the board, because we owe it to the taxpayers. This is a very, very sound budget. It's a very prudent budget. And I just have to thank the entire staff, the central office, our principals. We asked them to go through everything. And we're asking the board to approve it today. We're going to take some comments, open it up for the public as required by law. But I just want to thank all those. There's not enough time to thank everyone, from the business administrator to assistant business administrator, Ms. Hock, who's our board secretary, to our administrators, central office, and of course, our board committees that hold us accountable. So thank you, board. We feel very, very good about this. Now, let's hope New Jersey recovers with some assistance from the federal government, that we do not lose the promised aid that we were given and that we're presenting to the public today. With that, I am going to take down, it's going to be questions or comments. First, I will leave it open to board members if they have a question on anything I presented, so then we'll open up to the public before we put it for approval. Board members? Seeing no questions, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and unmute everyone and just get rid of this and go back to our agenda. Madam President, we are unmuted. We need to go back to our agenda so we have an open public, but let me segue back into that and find it as we are remote. And where is my agenda? No.
No, it's not.
No. All right.
Doesn't make
Bear with
any
me, folks. I apologize for the delay. I lost my agenda on the screen. I will find it. Madam President, it's part of the agenda now is to open up to public comment. You could take it away, public comments regarding anything about this budget, and I'll find the agenda and post it back up for the viewers at home.
Okay. So this, did you give me voice?
Yes, you are on, Madam President.
Okay.
You have the voice. I would never do that to you, Madam President, not on purpose.
All right, so we're opening the floor for questions on the budget, Dr. Sikowski?
Yes. You can go through your standard reading that they have any question in 3 minutes, and we're certainly here to.
Yep, bear with me, sorry.
No problem. Oh, we got some feedback going on, but
Yeah.
I'm going to share the screen. And you should see now where we are. The screen's on to you, and here it is. We have a public session on the final budget.
Oh, okay, I was looking for some sort of statement. I thought.
No, just a simple public
Okay,
session.
okay, thank you. No. So at this time, we are in the open public session on the final budget. We would ask that if anyone has any questions or comments, that they indicate their interest in speaking on the Zoom system, and Dr. Sikowski will give you the ability to ask any questions.
Right.
Or comments.
We got awful feedback.
Yeah, there's a delay, time delay.
Yeah, a time delay, but hopefully we'll straighten it out. Seeing none, Madam President, please raise your hand, folks. If anybody here is live or seeing no questions.
Seeing no questions?
We're going to need a motion to close the public portion. Just relative, we have two more public portions. Sections just for the budget.
Second. I'm going to take roll call now. Mr. Brockman,
Yes.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Duran Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Keefe,
Yes.
Mr. Liguori,
Yes.
Mr. Liu,
Yes.
Ms. Rubin,
Yes.
and Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
The public portion is closed.
Okay, Madam President, we need to take, with great pleasure, I'm asking you to look at motion number 7, so we can adopt this and I can send it off to the New Jersey Department of Education.
Yes, sir. May I have a motion to close the public portion
Yep.
of the meeting?
Number 7, Madam
I'm
President.
sorry,
Number
the
7.
authorize the adoption of the fiscal year 2020-2021 school district budget is submitted to and approved by the New Jersey Department of Education.
So moved.
Second.
Once again, I will go through roll call. Mr. Brockman,
Yes.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Duran Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Keefe,
Yes.
Mr. Legori,
Yes.
Mr. Lou, Mr. Lou on the budget.
I'm looking for, oh, he's, let me unmute him. Sorry, Mr. Lou. Hold on.
I think it's good.
Okay, Mr. Lou, you're unmuted.
All right. No.
No, okay. Ms. Rubin
Yes.
and Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Budget passes.
Okay, thank you. So,
So be it resolved.
no, that's what we just passed, Madam President.
Sorry.
That was the
Now-
motion, yes.
We're now number 8. If you see on the screen, motion,
Yeah.
Madam President.
Yep. And Mr. Legori, you want to take item 8?
Sure, Madam President. It's a motion. I make a motion to approve the following board minutes. The special meeting, which was actually canceled on March 14th, 2020. The conference meeting, which was also canceled on March 18th, 2020. And the Zoom video conference regular meeting and 2021 tentative budget meeting from March 25th of 2020.
Second.
And roll call again, Mr. Brockman,
Yes.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Duran Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Keefe,
Yes.
Mr. Legori,
Yes.
Mr. Lou. Mr. Lou, do you,
Oh, he muted himself. Let me unmute him.
oh,
Mr. Lou?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
You hear me now? All right. I vote yes. Yeah.
it's,
Yes, thank you. Ms. Rubin
Yes.
and Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
The minutes are approved.
Thank you. Any communications?
not at this time, Madam President.
How about reports? Administrative report?
Yes, Madam President, I do. I just want to say, I just want to thank the mayor and council. I want to thank the school board. These have been trying times, and I really, as a superintendent, feel so supported by our mayor and council and our school board, working together, really focusing on the concerns of all North Brunswick Township residents. I couldn't be prouder to be part of a great team. The emphasis has been caring about each other. We know the state, we know the county are working hard, but really it's what we have locally, what you folks have created, a partnership. And I just wanted to say thank you to the mayor and council. Thank you to the school board for having our citizens, our residents, their best interests in mind. And it really is terrific. We want to get to, we have our student reporter here today, and I just ask everyone, if you have an opportunity, please get on Channel 15. The mayor gives a report. Our Mark Caffrey, our Office of Emergency Management, gives a report. The mayor allows the school district, allows me to give a little update. I'm able to bring on folks, and we brought on a commissioner because he's so committed to North Brunswick and the state of New Jersey. We've brought on students and teachers, principals. And tomorrow, our vice president of the board, Mr. Barry Duran Harris, is going to come on. He's a cameo, and we're certainly looking forward. The mayor wanted the Board of Education member to come on, although superintendent represents the board. It's great because he respects the Board of Education and their work that we've been trying to do and work with the township and the community. So just great work. I just want to thank Chartwell's, our partnership with Chartwell's. People realize we have a partnership with Chartwell's food service. Just, we've been delivering thousands and thousands of breakfasts and lunch grab and go. Led by Adam Sawcheck, but I just don't want to mention Adam because our workers, we have people, see, we're integrated. We have Chartwell's employees that report to us, work with us, But we also work with North Brunswick Township public school employees, our bus drivers, our security folks. They're working together to we're making, like, past Monday, we made 3,940 grab and goes, lunch and breakfast portions. And we applied to the state, and they're now allowing us doing breakfast and lunch grab and goes for 6 days a week. So on Monday, we prepare 3 lunch grab and goes. And for Thursday, we do 3 more instead of just 2. Instead of just for Thursday and Friday, we're doing 3. So 6 days of the week, families have been able to reach out and come to 5 locations. We have them throughout the district. Our first location at the high school right in front. Our bus drivers put a bus there, socially distant, so we can see located. Our middle school, Linwood Middle School, has a bus on the side of the building. You'll see the bus where they serve. LP in their front loop, there's a bus. John Adams in the parking lot, there's a bus. And Deerbrook Village, because they're isolated down Route 130. We work at it right in front of the clubhouse with our, there's a bus there. We deliver. So we have 5 locations. And I want to thank our Class 3 officers. I want to thank our security folks, because we have families that have no way of getting there, because we're doing social distancing. So we're working with some delivery. Some families are very much compromised, and we're working that way. So I am very proud of this joint effort, North Brunswick Township Public Schools, working with Chartwells. They are our partner. And I'm happy to say we led and petitioned the state and the federal government, so we're allowed to be reimbursed for 6 days a week of our rations. And I'm just can't say enough of the leadership of Chartwells and North Brunswick and being strong with this. So very, very important. I just want to let everyone know, May 1st, this Friday, the school building that's going up, the new school building, was supposed to be turned over to us, the keys. It's a little delay, not a delay in progress, just a delay because delivery of furniture. We're trying to work even though the governor said new construction, school construction is allowed, it's acceptable. We're still trying to do with social distancing, and our deliveries have been a little slower than expected. Certain issues are we working on, but been there at the school. I can't do tours. I want to show the board. We just can't go there because we're trying to keep social distancing. But I think one of our broadcasts in our next meeting, maybe we could do some kind of remote broadcast of how the school looks. It's on time. We said May 1st. So you may say it's not on time. The board was very smart, and we said May 1st. So if anything ever delayed it, and look, we were less than a month away having the keys. So there is a little delay, but no one's fault. No delay claimed. It's mutual as we try to work safely in finishing and putting the finishing touches on our new schools. Be on the lookout. Our Ed Foundation selling pavers. You'll be hearing more information as a memorial in front of the building. So some pavers have been sold already, but we will get more information out through our foundation, through our school buildings, and we're very, very happy about that. We are very happy that we're virtually working with our students, honoring our students, doing some gaming, creating some competitions, building and increasing the amount of airtime teachers are meeting with students, getting more comfortable, executing a curriculum. We're doing a virtual field days every Friday. It was a big success last Friday. We continue to do that. So we're very, very proud. We're very proud of our teachers and students that are leading the way. Please check out our website. On our website, every broadcast the mayor and the superintendent do is on there. Any newsletter, there'll be my next newsletter, my news communication will come out. I want to put all of our links out there that you've been receiving so many different information from our communication system, our Kinvolve, our Blast. You've been receiving a lot. So we want to put everything in one place. So I'll send out another communication, kind of corralling all those communications that you've been receiving from our principals, from me, and from our broadcast. Go on site, go on our website front page. It talks about all the great things, where you could get help. Our virtual nurses office, our supervisor of nursing, Miss Mary Ellen Engel, has been a leader in the state, creating a virtual nurse's office and now creating our proposals, how we're going to re-enter at some point. Now, you may say, they haven't talked about re-entry. Well, we're working on plans. We got to stay 2 or 3 months ahead to make sure we're ready. There's a lot to consider. So I want to thank Mary Ellen and our virtual nurse's office and our real nurses answering. Our schools are answering questions. So we're very proud of how we've reached out as a team to continue to stay connected. We have to stay connected because we have each other here in North Brunswick, and I'm very proud of the district, proud of the Board of Education's commitment to all our residents, commitment to the township leaders, and certainly we have enhanced what we're able to do, and we're going to continue to grow. Please be on the lookout for a survey. Parents, be on the lookout for a survey. We know we got a long way to go. And I don't know, May 15th is a date the governor has given about talking about returning and giving an announcement about returning. I don't think we're there yet. I'm not trying to be a downer, but I think we need to prepare. And as the mayor says, stay socially distant, stay connected, but socially distant. We got to keep this under control. We still have people who are sick. We need people who need help, and we need to maintain our educational integrity, but we still need to stay socially distant. So we are preparing for both scenarios, all scenarios, and we continue to build our educational programming as we left. As you know, we left school for our students. May 11th was our last day. March 11th was our last day because we knew it was more than just identifying who was sick. It was about social distancing. So we're very, very proud of our partnership and very thankful to our mayor and council. I'm thankful to a Board of Education that has allowed us to continue to have the foresight to promote virtual learning prior to needing virtual learning. Madam President, I do want to mention that we are part of the mayor's broadcast every morning. Information is there, but ask residents, go onto our website, see what we have. Front page, first page of our website. It comes right up. Everything we're doing, every broadcast, every letter, our virtual health office, it's all there. We want to get as much information, make it available. So please, residents, continue to utilize that, continue to communicate with us. And I will stop right now and turn it back over to you, Madam President, for our committee reports.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, Madam President, I did forget one thing. My apologies. Preschool lottery is closing. Tomorrow's the last day. We have free full day lottery, preschool. But we're building the program. We have about 280 seats. We have more than that registered. So we have to go to a lottery. Please go online in English and Spanish and register for our lottery. The county's going to help facilitate that lottery so we get ready for our full day preschool program at no cost to the taxpayers. You heard my budget. It's fully funded from the grant that we received from the Department of Education. Thank you, Madam President. I'm sorry I forgot to mention that. I wanted to mention that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Excellent presentation, and thank you for continuing to educate us all about the great work that's happening in our district and how we're managing our taxpayers' funds with care and love and tenderness to ensure we're taking care of our most vulnerable, our students, our children. Thank you.
Committee
do we have any committee reports?
Let me unmute our.
You're
All
good.
right.
All right. I'm unmuted now? All right.
Yeah, you had your hand up. Let me lower your hand. Very good.
Let me lower my hand.
Yeah, you can learn that.
I was just trying to see if you can unmute me. I'll see if you can unmute me to keep getting muted for some reason.
I don't know why. Well, it's because try to avoid feedback. Sorry.
Yeah. No, no problem. Real quick, the curriculum committee met on April 8th, went over some of the Executive Order 117 updates regarding state mandated assessments and teacher administrator evaluations. We also discussed some distant digital learning updates, including lesson delivery, Google Classroom, grading, Hangouts and Meet, and possibility of virtual field trips. And also discussed preschool lottery applications are open. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, I did raise my hand, but if you want,
yeah,
I
no, I'm
can
gonna
chime
lower it.
in.
I'll lower it.
Thank you. I didn't know which way we wanted to go with the raise hand virtually or just kind of
No,
jumping
I
in.
love to raise hand, but Madam President is giving me the authority, so I'm like the guy of Oz behind the curtain. So bear with me.
You're doing it. You're doing a great job. Hi, everybody. The Personnel Committee met on April 22nd. That was already a week ago. We discussed retirements and resignations, some various adjustments and timelines regarding the hiring and renewal processes. We discussed leaves of absences as well as revisions of job descriptions and the talks around attending a virtual job fair, given everything that's going on. And then, of course, we discussed other various personnel issues.
Thank you, Ms. Rubin. Any other committee reports tonight?
Yes, Madam President. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad that everyone has seemingly been safe, and hopefully your families are safe as well. The policy committee actually met earlier this evening, and there were 3 items on our agenda for this evening for the initial reading. One is the supervision of construction. The supervision of construction was something that we've been doing in our district with regards to background checks for all construction workers or personnel. However, it's something that has been mandated, so we've implemented this as part of our policy. The next item on the agenda that we discussed was school day closings, openings and closings. It's something that we've been doing throughout our school district. However, this is something that is mandated that not only on our calendar do we have the days that the school is going to be open, but we also have to have the times that the schools will be open, as well as the time in which the schools will be closed on those particular days. The third item was, again, this is something that we've been addressing in our school district, but now it's mandated that we report the potential children that are potentially missing or abused. So not only is this something that that is being reinforced from the superintendent's office all the way down, but it's something that now will be a little more proactive in doing, whether it's putting posters up in the various schools, just making more people aware of certain signs and things to look for with regards to children that may be abused or children that are missing. And then lastly, I'll just touch on some of the things with regards to a legislative update that we discussed in the policy meeting. We talked about emergency sick leave primarily as it pertains to COVID-19, and the fact that we'll be implementing, and Dr. Z, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a 10-day sick leave for anyone that has tested positive for COVID-19 that is a member of our staff and they need to be in quarantine.
Yes. We'll have that in policy form accordingly. Yes.
Okay. And that's all I have for the evening. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Any other committees?
Madam President, if I could, I
Please.
have my hand raised.
Yeah, his hand's raised. I'm lowering your hand, Mr. Ligori.
Thank you very much. Madam President, members of the board, the Business Operations Committee met on Wednesday, April 8th at 7 p.m. via Zoom meeting. Among the items we discussed are the ongoing ESIP plans at our schools. Again, this was about 3 weeks ago. At the time, we had said that the solar projects were about another 2 to 3 weeks until completion at Linwood and Judd School. We were reminded that the solar work has been completed at Livingston Park, John Adams, and Parsons. We talked about facilities oversight, which during this time that we're closed is very important. Dr. Z informed us that 5 teams have been rotating in once a week. There's ongoing cleaning that is occurring room by room, and folks are helping obviously with our food distribution that's been going so well. We continue to review the transformers at the high school during this time, and it's important to note also from a facility standpoint, we all remember the issues that we had with mold at the high school. The facility is not on vacation mode, if you will. We're running our heat and our air conditioning as needed. We're checking our humidity levels so that any occurrence of mold is obviously going to be a non-issue during this time. We talked about the middle school project that is ongoing. The first item we discussed was landscaping, which we were sorry to hear that the bid was put out in the February or March timeframe. We received some bids back, and they were all over budget. So you'll see on tonight's agenda under finance item 3B on page 9 of our agenda that was rejected. In terms of the overall progress, things continue to trend in a very good direction. The second floor flooring nearly completed. The furniture has been ordered. The lockers will be installed in May. On the first floor, the gym floor has been installed. And we saw some photos and it looks absolutely great. The lights in the library area are in. The fire alarms have been tested. The kitchen equipment goes in. The floor protection is starting to come off on that first floor as well. With the exterior of the building, the sidewalks have gone in. The final paving was to begin. And all of this working towards a temporary certificate of occupancy, probably in about a week or so. So stay tuned and we'll hear more. We heard there might have been a slight delay from our May 1st date, but we're not slipping too far from there. In terms of our agenda items for this evening, there are a couple that pertain to finance. First is finance item 4C on page 12 is the mercury testing contract with Distinct Engineering Solutions for their investigation, analysis, and reporting again on the mercury issues. Very happy to report that on finance item 3A on pages 8 and 9, we're going to do we're looking to move on some bond refinancing, which Dr. Z had touched on. The bond rates are obviously very low. We refinanced some of our 2002 and 2005 bonds back in 2010 and 2012. We're now taking 2010, 2012 bonds and refinancing 17.1 million of those at very favorable rates. So good news there. We also discussed our bus contracts. Again, you'll see on our agenda this evening, item 3C on page 10, that many of our bus contracts, bids came back unfavorable, so we're rejecting those as well. And then finally, we had a discussion, obviously, about our budget, which we rolled out for the public this evening. We continue to monitor the status of the state budget where, we're not sure what to expect. We don't know what we don't know, we've been saying. There could be reappropriations, reductions due to COVID-19, so we're all staying tuned. And I just want to say on behalf of the committee, Dr. Zakowski, to you and your team, thank you for the diligence on the budget. We know that it's not an overnight job to get all that done, and we really appreciate the many, many months of work that have occurred and probably will continue to occur as we look towards finality from the state and from some assistance from them towards getting to the end of this. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ligori.
Thank you, sir.
Any other committees, Madam President?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Any other committees, Madam President?
That would be a question for the committee leads.
Yes.
Not at this time, Madam President.
I'm sorry, not you, okay.
Okay.
Are we missing anybody else?
Nope, I think
we're covered.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Madam President, I know this is your favorite part. I'm looking for our student rep. She was on early. She also came on with me during the broadcast for the mayor's broadcast. Our student rep, we're very proud of her, but I don't see her on the.
We lost her.
Did we lose her? Oh, she was on for a while.
So bad.
Amanda Collado, are you there? Amanda, I see Amanda Guadagnino, who's been a stalwart and every morning supporting the township by being on the broadcast, but I don't see Amanda Collado. So let me just say, we featured her on the morning report. She's an outstanding student. She has many offers, and she's looking at going to Rutgers Business School. She's got offers from Stevens and Rutgers, and she's a wonderful, wonderful student rep. I know her partner, who's not here tonight as well. She is working with her church, doing work. So we're going to miss both student reps, but we just wanted to give them a shout out to both of them as their outstanding students and outstanding reps. And she gave a great message during the mayor's broadcast. She came on, Amanda, and talked about the positive outlook and how she's going through it. And we're very, very proud of all her work. So I guess I don't see any student. Maybe if Amanda comes back on, maybe we lost her. So
Alrighty.
That concludes the reports.
All right, so we go through the remainder of the agenda, please.
No.
No,
We need a
Madam
motion to approve
Let me put this back up.
number 11.
We're gonna need number
Sorry.
11. Let me put it back up. You guys are too quick for me. So we are at number 11. We have to approve the administrative committee and student reports.
We need a motion and a second, right?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the administrative and committee reports.
Have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Gloria.
Thank you, Mrs. Gonzalez. Mr. Brockman.
Oh, is he muted? Let me, hold on. Okay.
Mr. Brockman?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Duran Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Keefe?
Yes.
Mr. Liguori?
Yes.
Mr. Liu?
Yes.
Ms. Rubin?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
The reports are approved.
Thank you. Somebody speaking?
No, we got some feedback. I unmuted everyone.
Okay.
So
Tracy has her hand up, I think.
great. I did.
That was before when I was muted.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Lou, he had his hand up.
I'm good. I was muted earlier. I want to ask you to mute me. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we now need to go into number 12.
Session.
Number 12, public session.
Any
On
comments?
agendas only.
Yep.
If anybody in the public has any questions or comments on the agenda items, they're welcome to ask a question. We ask that you keep your questions to 3 minutes.
Motion to.
I don't see any hands raised. We have some public and
Okay. Can we have a motion then to close the public portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Mr. Brockman.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Brooks.
He's muted, but I
oh,
think.
okay, hold on. He's muted?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought I muted everyone. Okay, hold on. Sorry, Mr. Brooks, you are now.
Close the public session. Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, he's unmuted now. Mr. Brooks.
Okay, so yes.
Mr. Duran Harris.
Yes.
Ms. Keefe.
Yes.
Mr. Liguori.
Yes.
Mr. Liu.
Yes.
Ms. Rubin.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
We are closed. Closed session is done.
No.
No, close the public.
Close the public, yeah, the public portion is.
Okay, we
Sorry.
gotta get back on the order. Okay, sorry. So we're closed. Yeah, the question, because now we have 3 public sessions, because the first was on the agenda. I mean, on the budget. Second
Yes.
one's on before the board votes on any items on the agenda only.
Yes.
And then we're gonna have another public session for any items somebody wants to bring before the board. So we're on number 14, Madam President, in front of you.
Yep. So we need a motion to approve the consent agenda items, personnel 1 and 2, curriculum, finance 1 through 4, miscellaneous, policy, and transportation as listed.
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was the first one?
Mr. Brockman?
Mr. Brockman, thank you. And Ms. Rubin, thank you. Mr. Brockman,
Yes.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Durant Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Keefe,
Yes, with the exception of transportation 1C specifically relating to Durham School Services due to a personal connection.
personal, thank you. Mr. Liguori,
Yes.
Mr. Liu,
Yes.
Ms. Rubin,
Yes.
and Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes, and I have the same exception as Ms. Keefe.
Thank you. The motions all pass.
Thank you.
All right, so now I'm going to, this is what you just passed. Very well done. We need to go to, we're now done with the board meeting.
Action to personnel. Right?
No, we're going all the way to the end. I'm moving
At the end.
Yep, here we go. So if you see where I highlighted, folks, now you approved, but now we have public session on any matter, Madam President.
But we closed the public session.
But that was for agenda items only. We voted on the agenda, so this is the third part for any matter that anybody wants to come before the board.
All right.
No takers?
Madam President, we need a motion, see none virtually or seeing none in our Zoom meeting. I ask you have a motion to close the public portion on any matter for this meeting.
So moved, Madam President.
Thank you, sir.
Second,
Second.
thank you. Mr. Brockman,
Yes.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Durant Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Keefe,
Yes.
Mr. Liguori,
Yes.
Mr. Liu,
Yes.
Ms. Rubin,
Yes.
and Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
The public session is now closed.
Madam President, this is weird. We received motion to go in closed session. I wrote the big word none. We have no matters to go in closed session tonight. So there's no need to do number 16, but I just wanted to keep it there just in case last minute, if there was a matter, no matters to come before the board. So Madam President, I would say we only need number 17.
Correct.
And let me just say as great job. I appreciate the support of the board. We appreciate support of all those who tuned in tonight for our board meeting. We are continually working to get better. We will keep everyone posted. We'll keep the communications.
2 minutes, Jeff.
Oh, 2 minutes, Joe. Someone has 2 minutes. I don't know how that goes. So we need to, I wanted to say thank you. And before you go, we'll be broadcasting every morning around 8:20. The mayor will try to keep everyone updated. Go on our website. It's updated constantly. I do want to recognize our board attorneys here, Mr. Jonathan Bush, who's been instrumental working with districts who are in difficult times, working with us as we're working through many of these executive orders. So thank you, Mr. Bush. I know you're there. I can't see on my screen because I'm looking at the motions. I'm looking at the agenda. Thank you, board members, committing to these late meetings, continue to run the district, even though remotely. We're certainly appreciative. The administration, the district is certainly appreciative of all that you're doing. So Laura's iPhone is just trying to get in. Sorry.
Dr. Z.
Yes.
Along the lines of what you've just said, I just want to thank you for your commitment to our community You're here every day, every weekday, early in the morning to be at the briefings, to make sure the voice and the face of our district are live to the public here in North Brunswick. And you always represent us with the highest character and quality. And we are so appreciative of your service to our town and to our students and parents and taxpayers. So I wanted to say that. And I also want to thank Shelley, who I see is on the line, for her years of service, for her kindness, for her resilient way of getting us to get our work done. And Shelley, I will say it every day of my life. I will miss you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Kelly, you're not retiring. You're just taking an extended vacation, but you're coming back, right?
No.
Madam President, thank you. I want to thank you on behalf of the administrative team, our staff, our teachers, and I want to thank the mayor and council and the board for allowing this school to be connected, rightfully so, with the partnership that we have, the mayor and council's Justine and the business office and Mr. Yetzko allowing us to be part of this, allowing our students, our staff, and the board members really to stay connected to North Brunswick. So I'm proud to serve. I'm proud to be here every day and stay connected because of all the work that you folks are supporting us in as a district, as we are in unprecedented times. So with no precedent, we know one thing will guide us, doing what's right for our students, our families, and our community. So that's what guides us. So thank you, board, for supporting us. We'll continue to work as hard as we can to make sure our community members, our residents, and our students and families are served. And to that end, thank you for the opportunity. We're certainly proud to serve you and the board and the community.
I think we should be very proud of the relationship that our school district has with the township. I don't hear that as a common denominator across our state. So, and a lot of that is your leadership. So thank you again for everything you do.
Thank you.
All right. And with that,
we just need a motion to adjourn, folks.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brockman,
Yes.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Duran Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Keefe,
Yes.
Mr. Ligori,
Yes.
Mr. Liu,
Yes.
Ms. Rubin,
Yes.
and Ms. Gonzalez.
yes,
The meeting's adjourned.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Rosa.
Everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Rosa.
Thank
for your
you.
work.
Stay well.
Appreciate it.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night,
Have a
everyone.
good night, everyone.